Morning, morning, morning. So welcome. I am Ginny Hallam Halborns, and you are listening to our 10 Minutes With sessions. Halborns are part of the brilliant Empowering People group, who are supporters of tech-enabled people solutions, and part of that support are these 10 Minutes With series. Following on from our previous session, exploring the tools employers can use to support mental wellbeing at work, we're now joined by the award-winning Pat Ashworth, Director of Learning Solutions at AdviserPlus, who are part of the Empowering People group. And Pat's going to discuss with us the mental health first aid bill that's recently been proposed by government. Hi, Pat.
Hi, Ginny. Nice to be here. Looking forward to
So
chatting.
fantastic. And I think you're an ambassador, aren't you, of mental health agenda anyway, and also a member of the government's professional advisors, is that right?
Yes, so I sit on the government's professional advisors group, and I've been involved with central government for over 20 years now, really pushing the agenda around disability, inclusion, and mental health. And it's all about raising awareness in small, medium, and large organisations of what we can do to make our workplaces more inclusive.
Fantastic. So we could not be in better hands today. So I've got 4 quick fire questions for you around the mental health first aid bill. So should we get cracking?
Yeah, let's get cracking.
Fantastic. So firstly, why is this bill so important, Pat?
Well, I think it's so important because something needs to change. Um, there needs to be parity between physical and mental health and well-being in the workplace. We need to start thinking about the two as inextricably linked. I think mental health related conditions are the biggest reason for absence in UK workplaces. If if that's not a business case for this bill to go through Parliament, I don't know what is. Secondly, I think it's important that we think about the mind and the body as one operating system. For example, when we're stressed, the hormone cortisol is released by the body, resulting in a range of physical conditions from the everyday cough and cold that we get right through to cardiovascular issues. So, there is legislation around physical health and safety in the workplace, but not around mental health and well-being in the workplace. And yet, if you think about it as one operating system, if you think about, it being the biggest reason for absence in UK workplaces, we need something here too. So we need to start thinking about the people who work in our businesses from a holistic point of view in terms of overall health and the whole person, rather than some set of physical symptoms, some set of psychological symptoms. It's thinking about the whole person and how we, as employers, can improve things. And I think a bill of this nature helps to accelerate that agenda. I've been working in this area, as I said, for over 20 years. It's not moving quickly enough.
And what are the key elements of the bill, Pat? So you talk about mental health first aid. Could you just give us kind of the top 3 points around what the bill's looking to introduce?
So it will be compulsory representation around mental health first aiders in businesses, in the same way that you have health and safety officers. Um, and mental health first aid, for those of you who maybe aren't aware of it, I'm a mental health first aid instructor for Mental Health First Aid England, have been for over 5 years now. And that's all about, it's a 2-day program, it's accredited, and it's all about taking individuals who are passionate about this particular area, taking them through a program which helps them understand and become more aware of the different spectrum conditions, so everything from stress, anxiety, depression, to eating disorders, to psychotic episodes, all from the perspective of when those individuals go back into their workplaces, not how they can help fix or give clinical advice, but how they can support and direct to that. And I think if you think about this in across UK workplaces, if we can get more and more representation of that nature in workplaces, then we start to create the culture change that we want to see, and we start to make it okay for people to talk about their mental health and their psychological distress without fear of humiliation or fear of discrimination being quietly sidelined. So it's normalizing um,
Mm.
mental health, normalizing discussions about mental health, making it okay to not be okay in workplaces.
Yeah, yeah. And creating that kind of real cultural change, as you
That's
say. Um, Fantastic. So, how do organisations prepare for this bill potentially becoming law?
I think there are two things. The first is what we know about line managers is they are the first point of access. They're the first people to hopefully notice when someone's in the early signs of distress. So if we can educate, increase awareness in line managers of how to support people in the early signs of distress, giving them the tools and techniques about what to do, how to open the conversation, how to continue the conversation, touch points of support, offering them information and awareness about a care path for their employees. I think that's a really great start, because you then start to open it up to the whole of the workforce in terms of support. I think the second thing is identifying those colleagues in your organisation um, uh, who are passionate about mental health and who would be appropriate to be mental health first aiders. I think to put them through some simple selection process, because not everybody, you can be passionate, but maybe not the right person to be a mental
Mm.
health first aider for a variety of reasons.
Mhm.
Um, Putting them through a simple selection process to become a mental health first aider, and we've got loads of experience on that. If anybody's interested in what that looks like, we can help. Um, and then to select that first cohort to go on the 2-day accreditation to become mental health first aiders, and then you've got your first kind of group of representatives who can start to affect the change. So you're training managers in terms of awareness, and then you're training a cohort of employees. Could be some managers in there as well, but employees who are representative of the workforce, and who are the right people to be in this space to start to affect the change. So we're not saying, I wouldn't advocate train everybody as mental health first aiders, but
No.
at least get your first cohort on the go, and at least be making strides to get them accredited, and as an absolute minimum get your line managers trained in mental health awareness, not necessarily mental health first aid, but a half day, 3 hours mental health awareness for line managers. Again, if you want to talk to us about that, we provide that.
Fantastic. So beyond those kind of two really important points that you make, have you got any other hints and tips on how we can all play our part in talking more openly about mental health within the workplace?
Well, do you know what? This is going to sound, soft and cuddly. I don't mean it to, but we need to feel cared for at work. We need to feel that someone's bothered about us. And I think we've all got a role to play there.
Mm.
Um, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to look out for each other. Um, you know, People say to me, what are the early signs of mental ill health? And I say, well, I can give you this big long list, and you can put it up, you can put it up as a ready reminder. The fact is, what you're looking for is noticing the subtle changes in someone. So
Mm.
if I was noticing something in you, Ginny, I'd be thinking, Ginny just doesn't seem to be herself today.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on there. In fact, actually all week, she just doesn't seem to be herself. and
Yeah.
having the courage and the conviction to reach out, seeing if you're okay. And I think when someone is struggling with their mental health, they just need the opportunity to process their emotions. Um, and I think, having the ability to just listen with empathy,
Mhm.
be that listening ear for that person is massive. This stuff doesn't need to cost anything. Just being
No.
that listening ear is something that we can all do.
Yeah, I mean, I talk so much on every level about caring personally, and I think it's really the key to business. If you care personally about your clients, your customers, there's a commercial opportunity and benefits of that. But exactly as you say, caring personally about your employees as well creates engagement, better health, better mental health, better retention. Because that caring personally for me is really the nub of business at every level. So great that you've brought that up today.
And you know what, Jenny, you can't pretend to do it. It
No.
has to be real. It has to be authentic.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you're not doing that, you're just transacting, and people see
yeah.
right through that. And I agree
Mm,
with your clients as well. I've got a personal understanding of each and every client that I work with.
yeah,
Um, you know, Conversations with all of my clients, start with how are you? How you getting on? How's it going?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Well, that's been absolutely eye-opening. If somebody's listening today and has really understood the value of mental health first aid training and taking that proactive, positive approach and wants to explore those options with you, what should they do, Pat?
Reach out. So my email address is Pat Ashworth at AdviserPlus. That's advisor with an ER, part of the Empowering People Group, adviserplus.com. And my mobile number is 07794 130 334. Do you need anything?
Fantastic. Well,
Send me an email.
amazing. Well, you've been brilliant. I think we're just within the 10 minutes, so thank you. We've put lots in. Um, Thank you again for the insight today, and please do get in contact with Pat if you've got any further questions or want some help.
Thanks, Jenny. It's been great.